Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Knife Chats with Tobias. Okay, what we have here is a set of knives from Canon. I believe Canon was a Smoky Mountain Knife Works house brand. I'm not 100% sure on that, but that's what I remember. I've got quite a few knives from Canon, and they're really not bad knives. This was a gift set, I guess you could say, of rope knives that they made. There's 3 knives in the set. Originally, this sold for right around $25 or so, and I think one of the knives in here was sold as an individual knife also, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But I have often seen the center one sold as an individual knife. Occasionally you'll see the other one show up, but they will all have the same number as this, which is the Canon 029, the CAN 029, and all 3 of these knives have that one. I believe you will also sometimes find the center knife sold as a Canon 028. But with that said, let's get started. I'm going to start with the top knife here. And if you notice, you've got the anchor on there. They all have the same anchor. And you've got a brass clevis down here. Now, the build quality on these is not spectacular, but at the same time, we're talking 3 knives that were sold for 25 bucks. As I mentioned right there, CAN 029 out of Canada. I can't remember what the blade steel was when these came out. I bought this set many years ago, and it's not the world's greatest. If you can see there, you see that the grind is not the world's greatest on this blade. And if you notice, this is also a Spearmaster blade on a rope knife, and some people go, wait a minute, why would you have a spear blade on a rope knife? Well, there were some definitely made that way, especially at the end of the 19th century going into the 20th century, especially in Britain. Believe it or not, there were quite a few knives that you had an option of either a sheepfoot or a lambfoot blade or a spear blade on it, and they were definitely knives that were designed for use at sea, because depending on what you were doing, sometimes you actually needed a pointy blade. As you can see, these knives have a half stop. I mean, it is supposed to be a more solid half stop. It does snap to the half, but it also wobbles a bit. And but a good snap otherwise, and that is an actual snap where the kick is actually hitting the blade. I'm sorry, hitting the backspring. The kick is hitting the backspring, not the blade. There's plenty of room, as you can tell, for that blade to drop even more. Now the handles, they look like they're black packawood, but these are actually a dark brown wood, and I don't know if it is packawood or not. I believe it's actually just slabs of dark brown wood. You got brass pins, possibly a nickel silver anchor into the wood, and then you have looks like a brushed stainless steel bolster at the top with a nice ring going on up there. The blade steel is either 420 or 440. I'm not really sure, but the bail is brass on this one, and not a bad little knife. The overall length closed comes in right at 3 7/8 inches, and all of the main blades come in right around 3 inches. This one's just shy of 3 inches, which would make this knife legal to use in the United Kingdom. In any case, I will go over the specs on all the knives at the end when I do the slideshow. Bounce down to the bottom for this knife, which to me, this is the coolest of the 3 knives. Again, you've got the brass clevis on the back here, the brass pins, the shield. The shield is really smooth in here, and this one has a much better looking blade. It is a satin finish on the blade, as you can see. Once again, Canon 029 or CAN 029, and you got the Canon logo up on the front of the blade there. Got the nice nail nick on the top, which you really do not need. The only knife that really needed a nail nick is the one with the spear blade. You got plenty of blade to pull up and get this out. I would think of this more as a coping blade than a sheepfoot blade because of the way it is cut. I guess some people might still consider it a ram's head or a sheepfoot blade, but because of how sharp the angle is there, I would think of it more of a coping blade. But you will find that this style of blade was used on quite a few rope knives as well. Once again, stainless steel liners, and got a lot of blade sticking up there. Very strong back spring. There is a natural half stop. This one, man, I gotta oil it, I think. Oil the joints, folks, oil the joints. But otherwise, as you can tell, it's the same handle and everything, just a different blade going in there. Definitely gotta oil it. These have been sitting in a box for almost 8 or 9 years. They were actually in the bottom of a drawer, and I stumbled on them when I was looking for the Smith Wesson Hawkbill that I actually gave away. I thought I had gotten rid of these knives, but I bought 2 sets of them, so apparently one set was still here. Actually, about 1 2/3 of the set are still here because I know I gave away at least one of these other knives before. And let's get the last one out, which has the ram's head, and this is probably the most traditional of the rope knives in the box. And like I said, this is the one I believe they also sold as an individual knife, and that might have been the Canon 028, but the Canon 029 is the one that came with the set, so a 3-knife set. And you could call this blade a sheepfoot blade or a ram's foot blade. I think of it more as of a ram's foot blade. The sheepfoot blade, the blade is the same width going all the way. As you can tell, this one, the blade broadens as you get to the end before it drops down. All of them have a straight bottom though, so notice how it's spreading away from it, from the spine. The spine is growing away from the edge of the blade down here. It's getting wider as it drops. If it was getting thinner as it got to the end, then it would be a lamb's foot blade, and it's a sheepfoot's blade if it is parallel, if the spine is parallel to the cutting edge. This is also the largest of the blades on this knife. This one just barely goes over 3 inches overall. All of them are under 3 inches on the cutting edge. And this one also feels some grinding. I definitely need to oil them again, but yeah, just nice. Even with it being dry, the action is not bad on them. I really got to oil them. If I oil them, they'll actually work better. Okay, I hit the joints with a little Victorinox multi-tool oil, and well, I don't feel that grinding anymore. It's actually acting like it's supposed to. So, yeah, just needed some oil. Really shouldn't just leave your knife sitting in a box for 9 years, I guess. Anyway, really cool set of knives. I need to break them out a little bit more, and I guess my collection of rope knives was a lot bigger than I thought it was. I knew I had these knives at one time, but I had honestly thought I had gotten rid of all of them. I know that you can still find them on eBay also, so if you're out there looking, you might want to try and grab a set. They are no longer in production, I do know that. So if you're seeing them out there, somebody is selling off their Canon rope knives. As far as I know, Canon is a defunct brand from Smoky Mountain Knife Works, unless somebody else picked it up. The cool thing about these is, especially this one here, very close to your Otto Messer knives, except the Otto Messer has the anchor down here, and the Otto Messer knives are of a much higher quality than this. So But you're talking, I believe these go for around $15 now. They used to be about 10. And I think you can get the whole set of these now for around $40 usually on eBay. In any case, I will let you go. Stick around for some slides and the specs on these knives. Let me take just a second to thank you once again for dropping by and spending a few minutes here at Knife Chats with Tobias. I really do appreciate it, and I do appreciate any comments that you leave. So please remember to give me that thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you'll know when the next episode is up and running. Thanks again for dropping by. Really do appreciate your time here.